Star Wars comic number 3. I think it was just called Death Star. Maybe it was called Battle for the Death Star. Still just following the movie along. This one took place from when they come out of hyperdrive and find out Alderaan's been destroyed to just after they rescue the princess. Just before they go in the trash chute. They're not there yet. Of the 3 Star Wars comics I've read in my whole life, this is my least favorite. The first 2, I felt like they had enough extra stuff. It wasn't just like following along the story. It was like following along the story, plus showing you like other things that might have happened, within the story, and also showing you like different takes on different things. This one felt like it was just following the story, like practically word for word. The only extra things I noticed were like 1 or 2 lines here and there. Nothing that really made me feel that it was worth reading an entire comic just to reiterate the same story. I like the artwork throughout it. That was probably the biggest plus for me. Just that the artwork for the action's really good, along with anytime they're in space, it always just makes me think of like old Thor comics or things like that, like crossing the Rainbow Bridge. Makes space seem more magical or like fantasy-esque, I guess, than what space was in the Star Wars movies even. I just really wish there was something more, though. I feel like the only people who would benefit from reading this were the few people in 1977 who hadn't seen the movie yet and could only experience it through comics books for some reason. But outside of that, I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone. The first 2 I thought were pretty good again, even though they're just going over the same story. But I guess if you've seen the movie, you don't really have to read these issues of the comics. Even when it's like showing us new stuff, it's stuff that's not necessary in any way. Like that scene with Biggs in the first comic where he's explained he joined the rebellion. It's like, who cares? You're dead by the end of the movie. This one's lacking because it feels too much like we're treading over the same ground than the previous ones. Those at least had their own take on different things. This one feels like someone like just watched the movie and then did this scene for scene, like shot for shot, trying to recreate it. Still, the artwork is really good, and it does a good job telling that story, even though it's not different in any way and doesn't add anything. And they're just riding the coattails of Star Wars, the thing I feared when I started reading these. But maybe that'll change. I guess as a rating, give it a 5 out of 10. Just in that it seemed pretty average. It was like they did just the bare minimum to make it passable. The artwork was also really good, especially for some of the action scenes. There's not a lot of action in this one, but there's enough to make it memorable. I especially like when the Imperial troopers first come on the Millennium Falcon and then they pop out of hiding and Chewbacca kills them all. Also, like I said, anything with Chewbacca in it is good. So 10 out of 10 because Chewbacca's in it. Just kidding. Yeah, no, this only gets a 5. Because they barely do anything to make it any different from Star Wars or to really do their own thing with it. Even though they're going over the same ground in the first 2 issues of this comic, those felt a lot different and unique in their own way. This just feels like they're copying the movie.